He claimed my analytics project as his own. So, I laid a silent trap, exposed the truth to the CTO, and turned betrayal into an epic promotion. Witness the ultimate comeback. The first time I presented the concept, it was just a sketch in my notebook, a rough diagram drawn in smudged pencil between coffee stains and half-written meeting notes. I'd been working late, alone in the after-hours hush of our shared office, dreaming up a way to streamline the analytics engine our startup had been struggling with for months. I didn't think anyone noticed. I was wrong. My colleague, Nathan, always had a gift for timing. He arrived with perfect posture, a silk tie no one else in tech dared to wear, and just enough charisma to eclipse quiet voices like mine. We'd shared that office space for nearly a year, passing post-it notes, sharing bad takeout, occasionally even venting about management over vending machine coffee. I thought we were friends, or something close. When the quarterly review came, I sat in the back, fingers trembling with anticipation. I'd submitted my report days early, with a detailed appendix outlining my redesign of the metrics interface. My code was tight, elegant. I imagine our CTO raising an eyebrow, maybe even calling me out in front of the team. But Nathan spoke first. He walked to the projector, opened a slide deck, and there was my idea, polished into bullet points and graphs, as if it had never passed through my hands. I froze, not just because he'd stolen it, but because he did it so effortlessly. With a straight back and a casual smile, he presented my innovation like it was the natural next step in his personal brilliance. Nobody looked at me, not even him. After the meeting, I sat at my desk in silence, the hum of fluorescent lights pressing on my skull. My notebook lay open, still holding the original sketch. I stared at it, as if it might speak. That night, I walked home in the rain, the wind slicing through my coat, a single thought echoing louder than betrayal. He thinks I'll stay quiet. He's wrong. The next morning, I returned to the office with a calm facade, masking the storm inside. I greeted Nathan with a nod, cold, measured. He asked how I'd slept. I muttered something non-committal and walked to my desk. I spent the first hour reviewing every comment in our code repository, searching for vulnerabilities, edge cases, anything he might have overlooked when adapting my concept. I didn't want to embarrass him publicly. I wanted to reclaim what was mine. By midday, I drafted an email to our CTO, attaching a refined version of the original design, complete with error handling protocols and performance benchmarks. I titled it Analytics Engine Critical Update, so it landed at the top of our inbox. Then, casually, I forwarded it to Nathan with a thought you'd appreciate these enhancements. His reply was swift, a thumbs-up emoji, and awesome. Thanks. He didn't realize I'd just equipped him with a ticking time bomb. Over the next 2 days, I watched from the sidelines as Nathan deployed my improved code in the staging environment. At first, everything ran smoothly, until late on Thursday, when automated tests began to fail. Dashboards flickered, data pipelines stalled, and error flags lit up like a city in distress. I slipped into the monitoring room, feigning surprise. What happened here? I asked, brows furrowed. Nathan stammered, scrambling through logs. I offered to help, and within minutes, I pinpointed the missing sanity checks I'd included in my version, the very ones he'd omitted. With a few keystrokes, I patched the build, and the system stabilized. Our CTO watched me work, impressed by my swift diagnosis. Nathan's face burned as he realized his arrogance had cost him credibility. That evening, I packed up my bag with a quiet satisfaction. In a mirror of the stairwell, I saw a different reflection. Someone who stood up for himself, not with noise and confrontation, but with subtle precision. Yet, as I locked the door behind me, I felt something unexpected, a hollow echo where vindication should have resounded. The war wasn't over. I had one final move left. A week later, our CTO called an all-hands meeting. The analytics engine was live, and she credited the team for the flawless launch. Nathan stood at the front, beaming while I blended into the back row. I felt the old sting of erasure, then remembered the power of quiet strategy. I raised my hand. Thank you. I began, voice steady. I'd like to add some context. The improvements you saw in staging were based on my original prototype, which Nathan adapted. I submitted the update directly after our last review. Murmurs rippled through the room. Nathan's confident posture faltered. I continued, outlining the extra protocols I designed, the benchmarks I'd stress-tested, and how they prevented critical failures under heavy load. Each point was met with nods from engineers who'd been scratching their heads last week. When I finished, our CTO paused, scanning her notes. Then she said, "Excellent work. It's clear you led this initiative. Thank you for stepping up." Silence fell. Nathan's expression shifted from shock to shame. Later, as we filed out, he approached me, voice low. "I'm sorry," he said. "I never meant to take you down." I studied him, his head bowed, sincerity flickering in his eyes. I wanted to savor a triumphant retort, but instead I surprised myself by nodding. "It's done," I replied. "Just give credit where it's due next time." Walking home that evening, the city lights glimmered through my rain-slicked window. I felt lighter, not because I'd won, but because I'd reclaimed my voice. The victory wasn't in exposing Nathan. It was in honoring my own worth. In the months that followed, I mentored junior developers, sharing both code and counsel, ensuring no one else felt invisible. I realized that true justice isn't revenge. It's respect. Respect for talent, for effort, and finally, for oneself. The spark I once buried under silence now blazed freely, illuminating the path ahead. Update 1. 6 months later, the code repository still bore the echoes of that tense review meeting. Nathan and I no longer exchanged polite nods. Instead, we shared quick collaborative stand-ups each morning, reviewing sprint goals side by side. After my public credit in the analytics rollout, the CTO invited me to co-lead the next major feature, an AI-driven dashboard, and she paired me with Nathan, betting that our combined strengths would drive innovation. At first, the tension was palpable. Nathan's apologies had been sincere, but old habits die hard. I decided to set a new tone. We began by mapping out the project milestones, then carving out clear ownership for each module. Instead of hiding sketches in my notebook, I posted whiteboard photos in the team channel, tagging him for feedback. When Nathan offered an insight, a novel way to visualize data, I acknowledged it in our sprint summary. His gratitude shone through in emojis, and for the first time, I saw genuine teamwork replace rivalry. One afternoon, as we wrestled with a stubborn memory leak, Nathan paused. "I'd never have caught this without your sanity checks," he admitted, eyes downcast. I smiled and replied, "And I couldn't have optimized the rendering pipeline without your parallel processing trick." In that moment, we realized that mutual respect outpaced any craving for solitary credit. By year's end, our AI dashboard shipped 2 weeks ahead of schedule, winning praise at an industry conference. Nathan and I stood at the demo booth together, answering questions as equals. Colleagues who once whispered about office drama now approached us for mentorship on collaboration. The board even cited our partnership as a model for future cross-team initiatives. Looking back, I understood that true revenge had never been about punishing Nathan. It was about elevating myself, claiming my voice, asserting my worth, and ultimately transforming betrayal into a bridge. And as we signed off on our rollout report, I realized our story had become one of shared triumph, not silent grudges. Update 2. A year after our AI dashboard triumph, I received an unexpected invitation to present our work at a global tech summit in Berlin. When I told Nathan, his eyes lit up with genuine excitement rather than old rivalry. Together, we spent weeks refining our slides and rehearsing demos. I crafted the narrative arc, how 2 former adversaries forged a tool that empowers data teams worldwide, while Nathan optimized live visualizations to run seamlessly on stage. On the day of the summit, the backstage hum felt electric. We paced side by side, reviewing bullet points, but this time there was no edge of tension, only mutual trust. When our turn arrived, we stepped onto the stage to warm applause. Nathan began with a technical deep dive, his voice steady as he explained the parallel processing engine. Then I took over, weaving the story of my original prototype, the crisis in staging, and the evolution into a true collaboration. as our final slide revealed a live demo of the dashboard analyzing real-time summit data. The audience erupted in applause. Afterward, attendees clustered around us with questions and praise. One VP of engineering from a Fortune 500 company remarked, "Your partnership model should be a case study for every team." Nathan and I exchanged a glance, both smiling at how far we'd come. Back at our office, the CTO framed our summit badge and pinned it on the wall beside the analytics launch photo. It became a visual reminder that conflict can seed innovation when met with strategy and openness. Nathan and I now co-mentor a bi-weekly collaboration lab, where cross-department pairs share prototypes, critique each other's code, and celebrate joint wins. We've watched shy engineers grow confident presenters, and lone wolf developers discover the power of teamwork. Late one evening, I found Nathan at my desk, reviewing a fresh feature proposal I'd sketched on a napkin. He looked up and said, "Ready to build this together?" I closed my laptop, returning his grin. "Let's write the next chapter." And so we did. Proof that even the sharpest betrayals can give way to enduring partnerships built on respect, ingenuity, and the shared thrill of creation. Update 3. 2 years later, our collaboration had evolved into a cornerstone of company culture. The Collaboration Lab that Nathan and I co-lead now boasted over 50 alumni, and its alumni network organized monthly hackathons to tackle ambitious challenges, from real-time fraud detection to personalized learning path for clients. Last quarter, our team's proposal for an Insight Accelerator Module 1 internal funding and became a flagship incubator within the R&D division. One crisp Monday morning, the CTO summoned me to her office. Expecting routine feedback, I walked into a panel of executives from product, design, and HR. They offer me the title of Director of Data Innovation, a new role designed to scale our lab's mentorship model company-wide. My heart pounded as I accepted, picturing every late-night sketch and silent stand-up that led here. Nathan and I held an all-hands meeting that afternoon. I unveiled a 6-month roadmap, expanding cross-functional pods, creating a digital playground where anyone could spin up sandbox environments, and launching a yearly innovation summit to spotlight breakthrough prototypes. When I outlined the vision, I saw in each teammate's eyes the same spark I once buried under doubt. Later, as I packed up for the day, I found a handwritten note on my desk. It was from a junior engineer named Mia, who wrote, "Thank you for teaching me to speak up and for showing that even the toughest conflicts can lead to incredible growth." Reading her words, I realized the full circle of my journey, from silenced innovator to leader who empowers others to find and honor their voices. And so, what began as a quest for simple vindication transformed into a legacy of collaboration and empowerment. Proof that true success lies not in solitary triumphs, but in the bridges we build and the lives we uplift together.